Alright, so today I wanted to make a quick video on how to make it so you know who's going to be the other opponent in some certain rivalry actions. So let's go ahead and go to edit matches and we'll take a look at the next one that I have. As you can see in my match card, I have Cedric Alexander against Sammy Guevara with a rival action. Go in there, I have set it in free mode where Cedric Alexander is going to be getting the upper hand, and then Sammy's music is going to be playing and kind of give the opponent an opportunity to score an upset win. Then in my fifth match, I have Dragon Lee plans to attack Daniel Garcia and anyone that gets in their way after the one-on-one match. So Daniel Garcia is going up in a one-on-one, and Dragon Lee is going to be interfering. And then in my seventh match, I'm going to be having Carmelo Hayes and Mankind, but Mankind is actually going to be there at the end of the match. So if you were to do this without setting anything up, it's just going to be random opponents for Cedric Alexander, Daniel Garcia, and then Carmelo Hayes, which is not good. It's random on your roster. I've kind of done like extensive research on it, like doing a lot of my own stuff, and it is someone random that is a part of your current roster. So on my NXT roster, it would be someone random. How to fix this is actually with my last two matches, which is what I usually do. So I run a 7-match. So I usually run a 7-match card, and then on my 8th match, I set up a triple threat, fatal 4-way, 5-way. It depends on how many wrestlers I'm needing in my setups, if that makes sense, and putting those wrestlers in here. Then I set up a Royal Rumble, a 30-man Royal Rumble, because my roster is 50, and I put in every single person who is not going to be on the card for that week. So in this instance, I have, as you can see here, I've got Madcap Moss versus Christian Cage with MJF and Bubba Ray and Devon and Spike. All those people are technically on the card, so you don't need to worry about them. Here I have Ricochet and Johnny Bones. You don't need to worry about them. However, for example, I have Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is nowhere to be seen on this card. So in that Royal Rumble, I'll make sure Braun Breaker is in that Royal Rumble so he doesn't show up. The reason I also have this triple threat is because just to make it easier on me, I'm wanting Cedric Alexander to face Swerve Strickland. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, now that I'm here, now that I'm at match 4, I'm going to go ahead and go into this triple threat. I'm going to change Swerve Strickland to somebody random. I'm going to choose Ricky Starks, because I don't remember if I put him in the Royal Rumble. I'm pretty sure I did, but I have 50 members, so it can get kind of confusing. But I went ahead and replaced Swerve Strickland, so Swerve Strickland is not in this triple threat anymore. So let's go ahead and go back to my match 4. So I'm going to go ahead, press the save button. I'm going to go ahead and start the card whenever it pops up, or start show. And I'm going to press X on this match. And as you can see, Cedric Alexander is going up against Swerve Strickland, and Sammy Guevara is going to interfere after, or whenever I set. I think it was a mid-match thing. And it doesn't matter who you play as, obviously. These are just the regular rivalry actions you've probably grown accustomed to at this point. We just not really ever had an option to change that third person. Now this is after patch 1.08 with the first DLC. The DLC hasn't came out yet, but the patch came out last night. And we're going to go ahead and start. And there's nothing weird about this. Cedric Alexander's coming out for his entrance, and then it'll be Swerve coming out for his entrance, and it'll work perfectly fine. Got those two coming out. They are now going to wrestle, and midway through the match, Sammy Guevara is going to interfere. I'm going to get to that point. And as you can see, the cutscene starts, and I just realized something. It's Sammy Guevara's mid-match thing, so you're not going to see it, but as you can see, whenever I started the card, it was Sammy Guevara. That's not just a random wrestler. We already knew that would be Sammy if you've done these rivalry actions before. But I'm going to go ahead and let this match end, because I am actually wanting to show you what happens when this match is over, because now technically Sammy is not on the card. Alright, so we're back at the card after that match ended. Swerve ended up winning, so because of that, now, like I mentioned, Sammy Guevara is nowhere to be found. So pretty much what you need to do is, for this instance, I'm wanting Lio Rush to go up against Daniel Garcia. So I'm going to go to this one, edit match. Instead of changing that Ricky Starks to whatever, change Lio Rush to Sammy and accept. And then once I go into match 5, once it loads, this game definitely has a frequent time with like weird crashes. Let's go ahead, go to match 5, and as you can see, Daniel Garcia is now going up against Lio Rush. So yeah, that's pretty much how you control it. Just make sure you make like a 30-man, or it depends on your roster size. You can do a 20-man or even like 8-man if you have like a smaller roster, which I'm eventually going to do. I'm trying to split my brand, so like that's just kind of like a storyline thing, but eventually you can just do it with like an 8-man. Now the only thing that does suck is you can't, like, you'll always have one spot that's filled with this. So regardless, like for me, for instance, I can't have a card with more than 7 matches. Normally I don't get to that point. Normally I have like 6 or 5 or whatever. But if your roster is too big, then you might need like 2 Royal Rumbles or whatever. So if you are doing this method, I recommend not having the largest roster. 50 is where I'm at, and it works out pretty perfectly. But yeah, that's how you control that. And when I start this match, it's going to be Daniel Garcia versus Lio Rush, and then at the end, Dragon Lee is going to be interfering. So it works out really well. And yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I will be sure to answer them if I can. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.